Hi everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Bell. This is the first episode here today, and I'm your host, Akshara Reddy, and I'm so excited to be hosting today's episode. So, whether you're listening between classes or you're at home, you're cramming for a test, this podcast is for you. So, this is a space where we're going to talk about the stuff that we all go through but isn't really commonly talked about within friends or in the status quo. So think school, stress, pressure, friendships, finals, mental health, fitting in, and everything along those lines, navigating high school and still trying to stay sane within it all. So today's episode is about balance, balancing schoolwork, balancing extracurriculars, life, and especially your mental and emotional well-being. So let's be real. Final season is coming up and it's definitely getting chaotic. So I'm not going to do this alone. I'm joined by somebody who is so kind and so thoughtful and real when it comes to mental health. And I'm so grateful that you're joining me today. So Jennifer, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Jennifer Lyon. I am a retired school counselor. I've been in the education system for about 30 years. First as a teacher, and then as an elementary and middle school counselor, and then later as a school counseling director, where I oversaw all the social emotional learning and mental health and physical health of everyone in Lake Travis ISD. My current job is as the program director for the Kindness Campaign, and at the Kindness Campaign we're on a mission to provide emotional health and wellness tools so that youth such as yourself and all of those of you who are listening have what you need to live a happy, balanced life, and to have skills and things in your back pocket to keep you from having a mental health episode or a mental issue. We're all about emotional wellness and loving yourself and feeling like you are enough.
I love that. And I am a member of the TKC Kind Leadership, so if you're watching this, feel free to research more about TKC and support that if you can. So I'm really happy you're here, and that's perfect because everything you specialize in, that's exactly what we want to focus on today. So I feel like a lot of students, including me, are constantly trying to juggle academics, clubs, sports, life, friends, family, and we still want to have some kind of social life and have time to do the things that we like, but sometimes it feels like we're doing everything we can and stretching ourselves too thin and feeling overwhelmed. So I have a question for you. I'm pretty sure this is a common question that multiple students have. What do you think some of the signs are that someone might be trying to take on too much, whether it's something you see in one of your friends or something you can see in yourself?
I think this is a really common problem among youth and teenagers, especially in high school. I think some of the signs are when you feel stress every moment of the day. You feel stressed waking up in the morning thinking about all the things you have to do that day. You come home from school or you go to a sport or a club or an activity, and maybe you don't get home till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and then you have to do homework, and then you feel stress on top of that. Some common signs to look for is your calendar. Is your calendar so full that you have no downtime? Is your calendar so full that you're not getting enough sleep? Teens especially need as much sleep as toddlers, which means teens need 9 to 10 hours of sleep at night. And I don't know any teens that get that much sleep, including my own. My own teen does not sleep well. Usually y'all are running on 6 or 7 on a good night, 6 or 7 hours on a good night. And so, really thinking about, do I have enough time for my friends, my family, and myself in between all these other things that I'm doing? And the one that falls off the most is usually time for yourself. So when I do talks like this with adults and corporations, I always ask, are you making time every single day to do 5 things? To think, time to think. We don't often give ourselves time for that. Time to work. For kids, that would be time to go to school and do your homework. Time to play. Play is important in keeping your mental health balanced. Time to relax, and time to sleep. You need all 5 of those things every single day. So if you don't have one of those or 2 or 3 of those in your schedule right now, those are signs that you are overscheduling yourself.
That's a great answer. That's really helpful. I feel like definitely those 5 things, I feel like for teens especially, when school days are every day, it's best to set a routine and incorporate those 5 things into your routine. So it becomes more of a habit than you having to work some time in for yourself or something like that.
So
Yeah,
smart.
that's perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
So I have another question for you. Let's say someone knows that they're overwhelmed because they see these signs and they don't want to give anything up and they don't want to do less of something to make room for more sleep per se. What's your advice for managing that feeling and especially when everything else feels important?
Well, there's a popular saying that if everything is important, nothing is important. So I would say really try to figure out and prioritize what is the most important and make time for those things. Sometimes it's hard to give up something you love or something you've been doing a long time, especially by the time you're in high school. Maybe you played an instrument for a long time, or you've been in the choir, or you do a sport and you're really into it and you love it, but then you try all these other things and now your schedule's all of a sudden super full. I think the thing would be, can you find time, even if it's on a weekend or an hour here or there, to make time for downtime? Because without downtime, your body will not be able to reset and perform at its best. And downtime is not sleeping. Sleeping is separate. Downtime is when I come home and I just have a moment to chill out in my room and listen to music or watch a movie or just do nothing. For me, it's reading a book for pleasure, because we so often have to read for information. And so thinking about when was the last time I did something just for me. And for some people, they can manage that with just 20 minutes a day or 20 minutes on the weekend, but for other people, they need more. If you're feeling anxiety about things you're doing, then maybe it's a sign that you're doing too much and you need to rethink your schedule. But if you want to keep all of your activities, then you use your calendar as a tool to help you plan your day better, because sometimes you can get in some of that play and emotional wellness at the same time as you're socializing. So going for a walk in nature with your study partner after school and do it, that could be a study session, or finding ways to combine several things at once so you can maximize the time on your calendar.
Yeah, that's actually something I've been wondering personally, so I'm really gonna ask this question. I never really thought about combining them. I feel like that's a great way to, if I feel like I need to study, but I also just really need to clear my head, I feel like that's a really good idea. So definitely something I'll be incorporating into my own schedule.
Good.
So another thing that's hard, I know every student struggles with this, comparing yourself to others. Comparison is so easy when you look around and you see how everyone else is handling things better. Obviously, I do feel stressed, but I may not show it as much around my peers. So obviously, none of us know what everybody else is going through. So, um, how do we deal with that pressure and not feel like we're falling behind on our peers and others? And how do we normalize being stressed with school? Because everybody is.
Yes. Having podcasts like this and talking about it, there's a saying called comparison is the thief of joy. When you compare yourself or your life or your accomplishments to someone else, you are stealing joy from yourself. And so I think one of the biggest problems that teens face today is social media, because it's really easy to look on Instagram or Snapchat or for people like me, Facebook, and see what everyone else is doing and how perfect their lives are. But you have to peel it back and remember, you don't post things about yourself that don't show you in your best light. That is human nature. We're always going to show ourselves in our best light to everyone else, but we have to remember they're doing that too. It's not always real what we see. People are not showing you they're not peeling back the inside hard things that they're dealing with and showing that to you. So you have to kind of remember, I call Facebook fake book, because I know people who are posting things on social media, on whatever platform it is, and I live close to them. I know what's really going on in their house, but that's not what they're posting. They're posting the filtered version of it. And we have to remember that everyone in high school, it's really hard, I think, for kids, because you feel like you're just the only one dealing with this. But as a counselor who have counseled many kids, I can tell you pretty much everyone that comes into my office is dealing with very similar feelings. And just sometimes being open enough to talk to your friends about what you're feeling with, if you feel like it's a safe environment and a safe relationship psychologically, is really helpful, because it's very isolating and you feel very alone in your feelings when you don't share them with others. But most kids are feeling the same way. They're feeling the pressure, they're feeling like maybe they're not enough, and they're just feeling a lot of anxiety about everyone else is doing all these things and I'm not. And I think that's a really normal feeling that everyone needs to normalize in themselves, and then realize, no, everyone puts their best foot forward and you're seeing the best of them, you're not seeing all of it. You're seeing the tip of the iceberg, you're not seeing all the iceberg underneath the water.
That's such a beautiful answer. I really like the quote you gave, comparison is the thief of joy. I've definitely heard that one before. I'm pretty sure it came up on my Pinterest once. Again, a form of social media that I find myself scrolling on. So, yeah, for sure. Especially, I know on my Instagram, I only post my highs, but there's definitely lots of lows that I wouldn't really be vulnerable with myself out there on social media apps. I'm really grateful myself to have friends where talking about our stress or talking about our feelings is really normalized, but I know that's really not the case for lots of people, especially in my school. People even see their friends as competitors at my school because of how academically compatible it is, and we even hide our ECs or what we're doing outside of school from each other on fear of being competition. And obviously that I understand, especially when you have college on mind, maybe you might want to share everything you do, you want to keep your uniqueness, but when it comes to also hiding our stress and how overwhelmed we feel, I feel like social media does play a detrimental factor into that. So I really believe we as students do need to normalize talking about these kinds of things. So I really hope, again, like this podcast we're doing here really helps with that.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that answer.
Yeah.
So, again, to normalizing feeling stressed, why do we feel so guilty about relaxing once in a while, and how do we unlearn that?
Well, we have a real problem with that in American society. We are the hustle culture, and we feel like we have to go, 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 go. And it's not healthy for us. Other cultures aren't like that. It's not like that in Spain. It's not like that in France. You know, we just are driven in this culture. And I'm hoping that your generation can change that, because it's really creating actually a lot of health, not just mental health, but a lot of physical health problems for people as well. And there's tons of research out there about that. But I think part of it is letting yourself unplug and trusting yourself. One of the things I know that kids are always so worried about, doing all these things to get into college. And while I'm not a college advisor and not a college admissions officer, I do think colleges are looking for kids who know who they are and know what they want out of life. And you can't really figure that out always at the age that you are first. And then also, if you're not giving yourself enough think time, again, back to those 5 things every day, giving yourself time to just sit and reflect and process things that happen in your day is really important. I think because so often when we don't give ourselves enough time to think and reflect about how an activity makes us feel or what we're doing, then we tend to maybe have anxiety around that and not let ourselves fully figure out how we feel about it, and or if that's something we want to continue doing. It's just really important to sit with yourself and have a moment to have that time to process things. So then you can figure out, what your feelings are and then how you want to manage them.
Yeah, for sure. That's really helpful here. And I think that, yeah, I think it is really our country.
Yes, it's our society, it's our culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we, hopefully that your generation can help us change that. Sorry, that's my cat. He's in here.
No problem.
Pet therapy is also great too. If you don't have pets, I recommend animal therapy and nature therapy as ways to help your body calm down and relax if you don't feel like you can do that on your own. But we can talk more about that later.
Yeah. I do have a dog, Fudge, and he is sort of like my comfort animal.
Yes. And I bet every time you pet him and you're around him, you probably notice your heart rate decreasing, and you might feel your face soften and your muscles relax a little bit, and that's how you know your body is relaxing.
I never really noticed those things. I think when I pet him, I just definitely forget about all my schoolwork
Yes.
and everything like that.
That's good. You need that. I hope you do that frequently.
So, that's all of our questions for today, and we're almost done. Just to end off the day, I wanted to do just a little fun this or that, stress edition. It's just a couple questions. So, for example, our first question is just asking you, would you rather have coffee or tea when you're stressed?
Well, if I need to get things done, it's coffee, but if I need to relax, it's iced tea.
For sure. Yeah. For me, I think it varies too. I'm sometimes a coffee girl in the morning and sometimes a
Yes,
tea
for
girl.
sure.
So, would you rather journal your feelings or vent to a friend?
I think also that depends. If it's something that I have really big feelings about, I need to vent to a friend. But if it's something I'm trying to figure out internally for myself about how do I really feel about something, usually I'll journal first, but then probably still vent to a friend. How about you?
Yeah. For me, probably venting to a friend. I mean, personally, I don't like my own handwriting, so journaling, for me, I wouldn't even be able to read it back on it later. So I feel like venting to a friend or venting to my sister would be best for me.
Awesome.
Deep breaths or blasting music in the car. This one is a little niche, but
Oh,
it's
I love that actually. I actually have developed a habit that I hope that all teen drivers develop. As when I get in the car and put my hands on the steering wheel, I take 3 deep breaths to regulate myself. I do that every time because usually by the time I'm in the car, I'm stressed out from rushing out of the house to do whatever it is that I'm driving to do. So I do both deep breaths, but I also love blasting music in my car. And especially fun when my teenage son is in the car and I can play It Takes Two to Make a Thing Go Right and dance around in my car and embarrass him. He gets stressed about that, but it makes me feel great. How about you?
For me, I'm like in the early stages of learning how to drive right now,
Oh, yeah.
so I feel like taking 3 deep breaths is probably what I need before going
Yes.
on the highway.
Every time you touch your steering wheel, the first time you get in your car, take 3 deep breaths. It will help you be a better driver.
For sure. So our last one, for finals, would you cram the night before or study overtime? And be honest.
Honest. If it's a class I hate, I'm cramming the night before. If it's a
Yeah.
class I love, I'll study as much as I can because I like it. How about you?
I think it's the exact same for me. A lot of these questions, it sort of just depends on the situation. Like, I could go this way or that way. I think for me, if it's a class that I love, again, it feels less of studying and it feels more like just learning.
Mhm.
And cramming that before is definitely for like history and memorization things.
Yes.
Well, yeah. So I love it. Thank you so much for coming here and sharing all this information with us, all these quotes and these helpful practices. And before we go, do you have any one piece of advice or any advice at all that you want every student listening to hear, especially this time of year?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me. I hope that you and your listeners all remember that you are enough just the way you are. and that your life is going to be fabulous because you're already doing things that make it so, and that you don't have to put so much pressure on yourself to figure out your whole world and your whole future while you're in high school, because things are going to change and you're going to change and it's all going to be okay. And so just remember that you are enough just the way you are, and to get outside and enjoy the sunshine and ground yourself in nature. Find time to think, play, work, sleep, and relax every day, and just lower your shoulders and release some of your tension, and don't hold so much stress for yourselves.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And for everyone listening, yes, you're doing your best. Grades are important, but so is your peace and your mental health. So this is your reminder to drink water, take breaks, and don't let finals or applications mess with your mental health. And if you like this episode, be sure to follow for upcoming Beyond the Bell for more honest conversations about the ups and downs of teen life with professionals or some of my friends who also are going through the same struggles as you. So we've got some amazing guests in episodes soon, and you can also DM us your topic requests or share your thoughts, and we'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much, Jennifer, and thank you for listening. And you guys have got this. See you next time on Beyond the Bell.